guys, welcome back to my channel. I am excited about today's video. We are going to be talking about my hair. I have had a lot of questions from you guys and requests to do a video on how I style my naturally curly hair, what products I use on my naturally curly / wavy hair. So we're going to address all that today. A couple of things I want to mention before we get into it. First off, and this might be kind of an obvious disclaimer, but even amongst those of us that have natural curl or natural texture, no two people have the same hair. The textures of our hair will vary. The amount of curliness or coiliness to our curls can vary, and even amongst one person they can vary throughout your lifetime. So I have had curly hair since I was 12 or 13 years old. I got a perm and it never went away. That's truly what happened to me. I mean, obviously puberty happened to me. That's what really happened. But when I was in high school and before I started having children, I had very, very curly hair. I will try inserting an embarrassingly old picture to show you guys right here, but I had very coily, curly hair. I'm actually grateful that over the years having children and going through pregnancy several times has loosened up my curls. I think it's a little bit easier to deal with, but we all deal with kind of the same issues, and most of those revolve around frizz, dryness, curl definition. Those are some of the things that we struggle, I think, to fight when we have natural texture in our hair. But because we are not all the same, some of these tips that work really well for me may not necessarily work for you. It really comes down to figuring out how to work with your own individual hair type, your own individual curl pattern. So we're going to be talking today about not just the products that I use in my hair, but also kind of the process of me styling my hair, because I think that's, even for me personally, is even more important than the actual products that I use, is the process of styling my hair. And it really, that all starts inside the shower. So I'm going to address all of those things for you guys today. I hope that this is helpful for you guys. If you guys have any remaining questions for me that I maybe don't answer in this video, please be sure to leave those down below. Hope that you guys are excited about this video, especially those of you that do have some natural curl and are looking for some answers or for some help. I hope that this is going to be helpful for you guys. And with that said, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Alright you guys, so I'm going to share with you guys the whole process of how I style my naturally curly hair, and as I go through the different stages and phases of styling my hair, I will also let you guys know which products I use at different times. Now, this sounds very complicated. It's a very lengthy sounding process, but keep a couple of things in mind. I don't do this to my hair every single day. I usually style my hair from wash or from condition every 3 or 4 days. On days that I'm not going from sopping wet hair, I usually will either try to rehydrate and reshape my curls on 2nd or 3rd days, or 9 times out of 10 I will end up wearing in a messy bun, which is kind of my preferred way to have my hair when it is curly. Also, there are days that I am not able to fully do all of these steps in the way that I prefer to do them, because sometimes we just don't have the time to wait around for our hair to air dry as much as we would like. But just keep that in mind. This is kind of, in an ideal world, on a perfect day, I will take the time to try and do my hair this way, because I find the most success, the least amount of frizz, when I follow this kind of step-by-step process. And I sincerely hope that this doesn't make you guys think that I am absolutely crazy. But let's go ahead and just get into it. So regardless of what kind of natural texture or curl you have, whether you are a level 4 very tight kinky curl, or even if you have a level 2 loose wave, most of the time I think most of us have kind of the same goal when it comes to styling our hair. We want basically 3 things. We want to define our curls, we want to control the frizz, and then we want to have a little bit of volume. Now, this is something that maybe a lot of us don't think about, but if you have naturally curly hair, and especially if you let your hair air dry, which we'll kind of get into, air drying your hair is going to help with frizz significantly, as much as you possibly can. But air drying your hair when it's really wet, unless you have very, very tight curl up at the scalp of your hair, can lead to very limp, flat hair. And the thing I dislike about that is that usually means I end up kind of with a mushroom head, so it's really flat hair and then it ends up getting kind of bushy at the ends. I personally like to try and get as much volume up at the roots as possible, and one of the main ways I do that is this little thing that I have going on here, which I'll kind of get into in a minute. So believe it or not, the styling of your natural curls actually starts in the shower. It starts long before you put product in your hair. If you guys have heard of the curly girl method, I'm not super educated on exactly what that method entails. I know a little bit that I've heard here and there, but I think the main kind of idea behind it is not using traditional shampoo and kind of going sulfate and paraben free. I actually do use shampoo in my hair a couple of times a week. I've tried the no shampoo or the conditioner shampoo, and with the products that I've tried it with, I just haven't had a lot of success, so that is something that you can definitely try. But I typically will shampoo my hair every 4 or 5 days in the shower, and I try to shampoo only where I feel like I need it, which is typically kind of up here at the scalp where I feel like my hair is maybe getting a little bit heavy, a little bit greasy. It's getting coated with product because I usually will put product in my hair consecutive days. So I try to use a minimal amount of shampoo and typically concentrate it up at the roots of my hair. The biggest thing I think in the shower is using a good conditioner. If you have curly hair or textured hair, most likely you probably also have dry hair. That seems to be a pretty common thing. So I try to find a conditioner that is very hydrating to my hair. I'm not loyal to any specific brand. Most of what I use is drugstore. The one that I am currently using that I'm really happy with is the L'Oreal Everpure line. I use the pink frizz-defying bottle. I really like those a lot. A conditioner that I've really enjoyed using over the years and repurchased a lot is the Aussie 3-Minute Miracle, the moist version. I love that one. One thing to keep in mind though, when I condition my hair, I try to concentrate the conditioner mostly at the nape where my hair is really dry and at the ends of my hair. I try not to put too much conditioner up near my scalp and near the roots of my hair because I find it to really weigh my hair down a lot. Another thing that is super important, not just in the shower, but with styling naturally curly hair in general, and this might sound crazy, but I try to avoid brushing my hair in the traditional way at all costs. I do comb my fingers lightly through my hair while I am rinsing out my conditioner in the shower just to get any really nasty tangles out of my hair, but I do not thoroughly comb my hair. Whenever I brush my hair, I always find more frizz ends up happening and my curls don't get this kind of chunky shape that I like them to have. I don't like when my curls are stringy because the more separated my curls get, the more frizz I end up having. So this is something you kind of just mentally have to get over because there will be times that you'll see areas of your hair that look very, very tangled even after you get out of the shower. You might be tempted to comb them out, but I promise you guys, I have found much better results when I just let them be, let them dry, and 9 times out of 10, those tangles won't look as bad once my hair is completely finished and dried. So after I'm done with my shower, my hair is nicely conditioned, I will just kind of take my hair and just wring it out, wring most of the excess water out of my hair. I try to be gentle with it, but this is where the first tool comes into the picture for me, and it is a very old, and I'm sorry you guys, this is a disgusting looking towel, but I do use a towel on my hair. This towel I've had since college. I graduated college in 2005, you guys. I've had this towel for a very, very long time. Basically, this is just a small, very cheap, very thin, poor quality towel. You want to use something that doesn't have a lot of absorbency to it, that is not very thick and plush, that's not going to soak up a ton of water. If you do use a thicker towel, you're going to pull too much water out of your hair too quickly, and then you're going to get frizz. I've heard of people also using t-shirts. That will work as well. Just make sure it's very nice and thin. But at this point, as I've gotten out of the shower, I will just take my towel and lightly kind of blot out any excess water from my hair. I don't spend too long doing this. My hair is still going to be very wet after this process. And at this point, I add a hair oil to my hair. I love using an argan oil. If you have hair that is naturally a little bit more greasy, tends to get greasy very fast, that is not as dry, you could probably skip this step, but I do have very, very dry hair. And I find that adding an oil to my hair while it is still wet really helps with the dryness factor, especially when it is wintertime. I'm not super loyal to a specific brand of oil. This is one that I've tried a couple of times and repurchased a few times. This is from One and Only. I buy this at Sally's Beauty Supply. I want to say it's around $10 for 3.4 ounces. After the oil, I then go in with my first hair product, and this is something that's going to help me to control the frizz. Before my hair starts to air dry or starts to dry at all, I want something to kind of help keep that frizz at bay because frizz starts to happen very, very quickly as soon as your hair starts to dry. So the type of product I like to use here is kind of a mix between a gel and a curling cream. It's typically something that's a little bit more pasty. Let me just show you guys a couple of options. One that I've been using pretty consistently is this from Sally's Beauty Supply. It is from the brand Beyond the Zone. It's called Noodlehead Uplift Your Curls. This is basically a clear, kind of pasty and somewhat liquidy gel. This one I do like. I use about 3 or 4 pumps of this in my hair, and keep in mind my hair is very wet at this point, so any product that you use is going to be diluted by the water that is in your hair. If my hair was dry, that would be far too much and would make my hair very, very crunchy, which I do not like. If you don't mind spending a little bit higher of a price, this is one that I probably like most of all, and it is from the brand TG. This is their Catwalk Curls Rock Curl Amplifier. This one is a little bit more of like a white kind of sticky sort of paste. Again, if I'm using this one at this point, my hair is wet, it's going to dilute this product quite a bit. I probably use about 2 pea-sized amounts in my entire hair, and I try to concentrate most of the product right up here at kind of the nape of my head, and then just like down through the ends of my hair, because I find most of the frizz starts to happen right here in my hair. A couple other ones that I really enjoy. This is probably one of my most repurchased of all time products. This is the Garnier Fructis Curl Sculpt Conditioning Cream Gel. This is a lot like this product, except it's not as concentrated, so I'll use quite a bit more of this. I use more of a pretty healthy dollop of this than the 2 sized amounts of this one that I use. It doesn't have quite as strong of a hold, but again, it's kind of that sort of like milky, kind of pasty type of product. Another high-end product that I have used in the past, I don't really use it anymore because I tend to go through it very quickly, is Redken's Rewind. That's a really great curling kind of paste. It's really great for shaping your curls and for using at this point in the process as well, if you don't mind spending a little bit more money. One more that I've tried, this is probably my least favorite of the bunch, is from L'Oreal. This is their Curve It Curl Taming Gel Cream. Same type of product, kind of a pasty, milky, somewhat sticky cream gel. But basically all these products will do about the same thing. They're going to give my curls a little bit of hold, they're going to help control frizz, and just help my curls kind of take their shape. So once I have those 2 products in my hair is still very wet, and this is when I start to scrunch my hair. A lot of people say you shouldn't scrunch your hair if you have naturally curly hair because it can create frizz, which it definitely can do that, but my curls aren't very even. If I pull my hair down, you'll probably see I have pretty defined curls around the front of my head and also kind of underneath down here, but then I have areas where my hair and my curls are very, very loose. So I need a lot of help to help my curls take a more consistent shape. And if that sounds like you, then I would definitely recommend scrunching your hair. But a couple of keys in scrunching your hair, you're actually going to use this towel that is quite wet at this point. I mean, you don't want it sopping wet, but you want it very, very damp, and the more damp the towel is, the less frizz you're going to end up getting. So I will usually take the corner of my towel that I use to kind of blot my hair, and I'll use that to scrunch my curls. You want to be very gentle when you're scrunching your hair. You basically just kind of go back and forth. You're not going to squeeze anything. You're just going to kind of bounce your curls up and down until they start to kind of take shape and start to have that kind of definition that you're looking for. And then at this point, I want those curls to kind of set. So I do an interesting kind of wrap with my hair. So I will take this wet towel, I'll put it over the top of a stool. I have a stool that basically lives in my bathroom just for this purpose. I will put the towel over the stool, then I will gently flip my hair upside down and kind of let my curls sort of coil on top of themselves until they're basically resting on the top of my head. Then with my head upside down, my curls nice and coiled on top of my head, I will take that towel, pull that back end around to the front, pinch it, twist it, tuck it, and then I'm left with basically a turban style dressing on my head that is meant to just kind of hold those curls up against my head. This is a step I would recommend if you again are someone that doesn't have a lot of curl to your hair, or you need some help to get the curls to take their shape. If your curls are a little bit tighter and you don't feel like they have trouble just taking shape on their own, you definitely don't need to do this part. You can move right on to the next step. This I just find, because my hair's a little bit looser now, I find this to be helpful for me in getting my curls to kind of hold their shape a little bit. So once I have my hair wrapped up in my towel, I'll usually let it sit there for about 10 to 20 minutes. And at this point, I usually go about finishing getting dressed, doing my skincare. Another reason I like to do the wrap is I feel like the damp towel is going to help kind of evenly pull out any areas of excess moisture, because usually what happens if your hair air dries, you'll have areas that get very dry and then areas like back here that struggle to get dry at all. This is going to help to pull a little bit more of that excess moisture out of your hair without pulling it out too quickly, which can cause frizz. So after the 10-20 minutes are up, I will take my hair out of the wrap, and then I want to give it another scrunch, but this time I'm going to scrunch some mousse into my hair. I found this to be a super helpful way for my curls to get some shape, get a little bit of hold without getting too much crunch. But let me just quickly share with you guys the mousse that I really enjoy using. There's a couple different options actually. First one is the Paul Mitchell Flexible Style Sculpting Foam. This is a classic. I used this when I was in high school. It is a little bit more pricey, and I do go through this stuff very, very quickly. You can sometimes find it on sale at Ulta if that is an option for you. If you find this on sale, I would recommend it. But if you have a Sally Beauty supply near you, or if you can order from them online, I really love this. This is from Generic Value Products. I love a lot of their products. This is basically the generic brand of the Paul Mitchell mousse. This is the Extra Body Sculpting Foam. I do like this one a little bit better. I think it has a little bit more hold. It can be a little bit more drying, so maybe if your hair is extra dry, you might actually prefer the original formula. They do also make the original formula in this same brand at Sally Beauty Supply, but this one does give my hair a little bit more body, so I usually prefer this one a little bit. So at this point my hair is still pretty wet. It's probably about 20% dry. It's very, very damp, and this is when I want to go in with the mousse. So I will take a good healthy amount of mousse, probably about the size of a baseball once it's kind of expanded, and then I will just kind of lightly try and start scrunching it into the ends of my hair. When I first started using mousse, I actually would concentrate the mousse up at my scalp, but I have found much better results once I have started doing this, which has probably only been over the last 6 or 7 months. So I will just kind of start concentrating that at the ends of my hair and just scrunching my hair. I then will go in with a little bit more and kind of put that up around the areas that I can get some frizz, up here near my temples or up here in my scalp. So I will spend a couple of minutes gently scrunching this into my hair. I'll then take my very wet towel and kind of scrunch it a little bit more. This is especially going to help to kind of diffuse or kind of dilute some of that product, because it can get a little bit crunchy. If you just scrunch it in and leave it be and let it kind of air dry or diffuse it later, you can get a little bit too much crunch. If that seems to be an issue for you and you don't like the crunch that you're getting at the end, I take a little bit more time scrunching with the towel to let the towel kind of absorb any of the excess product. So I don't take very long to do this. It just takes a couple of minutes, and then at this point I will do what I call the clip and rest. Now this is where the clip comes in, you guys. This is if you have trouble with your hair being very flat when you have natural curl and natural texture, this is going to change your life. A very simple tool. I'm sure you guys have all seen these little clippy claws. You can use the small ones, you can use the super large ones. Basically you're just going to take your hair, just kind of this top section above your ears, and just loosely gather it on top of your head, put the clip up there, and just let it rest. So at this point, like I mentioned, my hair is probably about 20% dry. I want to try and give my hair about another 20 minutes just to get like another 10% dry. Basically, I'm just letting my hair air dry just a little bit before I go in with a diffuser. This doesn't take long, and again, I'm usually doing other things at this point, but after about 10 or 15 minutes, this is the point that I go in with my diffuser. So this is the diffuser that I use. I just got this diffuser attachment. It's supposed to be a universal attachment. I got it at Sally Beauty Supply. I will try and link it down below or something similar if I can find it. Just make sure that your diffuser is nice and large, and make sure that when you use your blow dryer, you want it on a warm setting and a very low setting. If you are someone that has very tight and very frizz prone curls, I would recommend maybe even skipping the diffusing process if you can. The main reason I like to diffuse my curls is because it helps them to get a little bit more shape, and it also helps to dry my hair a little bit more quickly. But a couple tips for diffusing your hair. I find it to work best when I try and hold the diffuser still and then kind of move my hair with my hands rather than going up and down with the diffuser itself. I certainly do a little bit of both. I'm not too picky about how I do it, but I really want to try and concentrate the heat and the air at the scalp of my hair. I kind of want to get a little bit more dryness up in this area because that's where my hair really struggles to dry and takes a long time to dry. Another tip with the diffuser is don't overdo it. You don't want to diffuse your hair until it's 100% dry. You want to leave your hair slightly damp and let it air dry the rest of the way. If that is at all possible for you, you're going to find less frizz, your hair will be less dry. If I am in a hurry and I need my hair to dry very quickly, if I have somewhere to be and I don't want to go out the door with 25% wet hair, then sometimes I will dry my hair all the way, but it always ends up feeling really dry. It ends up looking a little bit more frizzy, and I end up not liking the result quite as much. So I probably only spend about 3 to 5 minutes diffusing my hair, and when I'm done with the diffuser, my hair is probably 50 to 75% dry at this point, and then I go back to doing the clip and hold. This again I will do as long as I possibly can, but you can see my hair is still up in the clip, and I will leave it in this clip as long as I possibly can. I have been known to walk into many a grocery store accidentally with a clip in my hair like this. But I am telling you guys, this is such a life-changing trick for me. So basically that is it. I will leave this clip in my hair as much as I can. Sometimes I'll take it out and I'll kind of like let my hair gently flip around a little bit to try and get some air movement in there and get the air drying process going. But if you can leave the clip mostly in your hair until it's completely dry, it will make such a big difference in the amount of volume that you get up at the roots of your hair. And honestly, even in high school when I had very, very curly hair, I would do the clip trick because I did not like when my hair would do kind of the mushroom thing. Alright guys, so it has actually been a couple hours. My hair is officially dry. Left the clip in for about another 30 or 40 minutes. Then I took my son to his orthodontist appointment. We went and had sushi for lunch. And now I am back, and this is basically what my hair ends up looking like after that whole process. So you can see I have a nice amount of volume up here at the top, a lot of curl here in the front. You'll see if you look closely a lot less curl here in the back. That's just kind of how my hair is. I don't have as much curl at the base here. And I'm probably not alone in that. A lot of us have varying levels of curl in different areas of our hair. But before I close out this video, I just wanted to share with you guys a couple more tips, as well as some thoughts on styling like second and third day hair, and then also how I do my messy bun, which I've had some questions about that as well. First tip I have for you guys that I may or may not have already mentioned, you probably already know this, it might be common sense, that is to avoid touching your hair. If you are wanting to avoid frizz, if your hair is naturally curly or just naturally prone to being frizzy, the more you touch your hair, the more frizz you're going to create. This is something that I to this day really struggle with. When my hair is curly, I want to touch it constantly. I don't know what it is about having naturally curly hair, feeling like your hair is really big that makes you just want to touch it all the time, but definitely will help if you can avoid touching it. Another thing that I recommend is to avoid using hairspray, especially if you have very dry hair, which I definitely do. I find that when I use hairspray, especially when my hair is down, it really dries out my hair, so I try to avoid using it, especially when I'm wearing my hair down. So one more tip I have for you guys relates to like second and third day curls. So normally after I have done my hair like this, I will sleep on it that night, usually just pulled back loosely behind my head just so it's kind of out of my face. But my curls don't usually look great the next day. They're usually a little bit flat. Most of the time I've probably worked out and had my hair in a tight bun, so it's looking pretty limp and pretty flat. But most of the time I can bring some life back to it, and usually all I do to do this is I just dampen it slightly. So I will get my hands very wet and just lightly run some water through my hair just to dampen kind of the surface of my hair. Then I will kind of do the same thing that I talked about in using these products right here, the curling pastes. If I'm using this one, which is usually my preferred one, if I'm wanting to have a good hair day, this is the one that I prefer to reach for. It is a little bit more pricey, but I also don't have to use as much of it. I'll take about 2 pea-sized amounts of this. Then I will get both of my hands wet, and then I will distribute that product on my wet hands just to get it really nice and slippery, really diluted. And then I will go over my very lightly damp hair and basically just kind of lightly graze the surface of my hair where I have some frizz, areas that I need especially extra help with reshaping my curls. Sometimes I might go back and do that one more time with just a little bit less product, or maybe even just a little bit more water. I don't want to get my hair too wet. I just want to lightly dampen it to kind of help reshape things. This is another great product that I often use for second day hair, and again, I'll probably take about 2 pumps of this on my very wet hands and kind of distribute it all through kind of the areas that have frizz, so this part of my hair, and then also through the ends of my hair. And then if my curls really need some help, I'll get a towel damp, and I will use that damp towel to lightly scrunch my hair just to kind of bring my curls back to life. Generally speaking, second and third day curls don't look as good as first day curls. They're a little bit more limp. They're not quite as voluminous and fluffy, at least for me personally, but they still tend to look okay, and I can usually get away with a second or third day curl. However, on days when I'm either having a really bad hair day, even if it's on a first day, because sometimes on even a first day I just have a bad hair day and my hair's driving me nuts and I just want to pull it out of my face. But especially on a second or third or fourth or even sometimes fifth day hair, I am a huge fan of the messy bun. I wear it all the time here on my channel. You guys have probably seen me in many videos with a messy bun, and I do have a very specific product that I like to use for messy bun days, and it's something like this right here. This is one that I'm currently using that I really love. This is from, again, Sally's Beauty Supply, the generic value products. This is the basically dupe for the Shea Moisture Coconut Hibiscus Curl Enhancing Smoothie. This is basically a curling cream, and there are a lot of products like this on the market. I've tried several and most of them work about the same. The way that this differs from a product like this is basically, if you were to take this product and mix it with like a conditioner or like a leave-in thick conditioner, that's kind of what this is. It actually feels more like a lotion sort of texture or conditioning kind of texture. So when I'm doing a messy bun, this is what I like to do. I again will just dampen my hair with my hands. I will then take about this much product and then I will dampen my hands and rub it between my damp hands just to distribute it, to dilute it just a little bit. Then I will take it and run it just all through the hairline. So I basically will just kind of spread it back through my hair, even underneath, and then whatever is left on my hands, I will run that through the ends of my hair. I really want to concentrate the majority of the product kind of in this area here. The reason I don't like to use this product when my hair is down is because this is definitely a more heavy product. It weighs my curls down a little bit more. It gives them nice shape. It gives them really good definition and separation, but it is a pretty heavy product. But it works amazingly well for a more messy bun, especially when I want to have those kind of little curly tendrils around my hair. This stuff really does a great job at kind of creating those for me. So once I've run that through my hair, I'll get a damp towel and I'll kind of just really concentrate the scrunching motion around the perimeter of my hairline just to get those curls really activated and get them to take shape. I'm not going to do that for you guys today because again, my hair is, I don't want to put this product in my hair because I did just wash my hair today, but I want to show you guys how I do my messy bun. So to do my messy bun, I will basically just take all of my hair, I will kind of pull it back like this, just loosely. I don't want to be too precise, and I actually almost prefer when some of my hair is not going straight back. So I'll just take my hair basically in this, do this kind of motion, and then I grab it right here, and then I will do a half twist, and then that's all I twist it. And then I just kind of pull it around. So I don't keep twisting my hair. I want this to all be loose. So I will just kind of pull it around loosely, like strand at a time. So I have a couple of these strands poking out, and then I will take my tie, which is on my wrist at this point, probably should have mentioned that, and then I will basically just pull it around twice, give it a little tug, pull on some of these little hairs right there, and voila, that's my messy bun. That's basically it. If I need to, sometimes I'll like pull at these hairs just to get these little tendrils down and nice and loose. Sometimes I'll even pull one or two back here just so it looks a little bit disheveled. Generally speaking, that takes me about 10 seconds to do that. I do have days where my messy bun just doesn't work for me for some reason, and that's kind of the nature of just naturally curly hair. You just have days where your hair just does what it wants to do, no matter what you try and get it to do. So I think there has to be a little bit of an attitude of like recognizing that you are never going to have complete control over your hair, and you have to just kind of let it do its thing and be okay with the fact that there might be days where your hair is extremely frizzy or it just doesn't look very good. And as crazy as this sounds, the more I've kind of come to terms with that, I feel like the more my hair cooperates. It truly is like a child. The more you try to control them, the more they do the opposite of what you want them to do. And I'm sure you all officially think I am crazy now, but I hope that this was helpful for you guys. I really tried to answer all of the questions that I've gotten thus far. I know not all of these tips will probably help everyone because we all probably know this, but not every natural curl, natural texture is going to be the same. I'm hoping that really this can be more of like a guideline for you to try some things out and figure out what works for you. There definitely is a learning curve when it comes to figuring out what does work for you. I mean, I have had naturally curly hair for 25 years, so I have learned a lot over those years and learned how to work with my hair, and there's been a lot of really crappy hair days and really bad products that I've tried in that time frame. It really just boils down to just trial and error and figuring out what works for you. But hopefully some of these tips, some of these products perhaps, will be helpful for you guys. If any of you have any other products or tips that work for you that maybe I didn't mention, please be sure to let us know in the comments down below. But thank you guys so much for stopping by today. I know this video is probably going to be very long. I hope that it was helpful for you guys. I hope that if you are new to my channel, if you are interested pretty much in makeup videos, because that's really what I mainly do, hopefully you'll consider subscribing and stick around for a while. But thank you all for watching today. I hope that you're having a great day, and I will see all of you in my next video. Bye. I've had naturally curly hair for, how old am I? 10 to 20 minutes, and again, I am, whoa. These empty mousse bottles are so tippy. No two hairs are, wait.